What's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I'd like to welcome everybody back. Still getting some things set up here. But we about to get it in once again. You know how we do. Hit the like button on the way in. Everybody, as everybody's filing in here, hit the like button. It might be some background noise. Got a lot going on in the background, but we're gonna get through this. Going to keep the party rolling. I'd like to thank everybody again for coming in. The Early Bird Squad, those who dropped those first comments, shout out and salute to Brian Randall, the Mac the Trucker, Scott Haywood in the building. You said, "What's up, Bernie?" It is okay to call you Bernie, right? I think you might be referring to something C Boogie said. No, man, it's cool. Bernard is actually my middle name, and so when I made that my name online, I didn't even know at first that Bernie was a nickname for Bernard. So when a few people started calling me Bernie, I was like, Bernie, what the fuck? Because I didn't even know, so I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, that's a very typical nickname for Bernard. So I didn't even know that at first, but yeah, a lot of people who get called Bernie. I'm pretty sure Bernie Sanders' name is Bernard. So there's that. So yeah. But C Boogie. Damn, y'all got me giggling already. Shit. Oh man, yeah, C Boogie did say something funny. I got sent the clip. I didn't see it live. I do duck in and watch from the clouds, here and there on his stuff, but I didn't see that one happening live. Somebody sent it to me, and he was like, "Obsidian over there, calling that nigga, hey Bernie." Like, I wish a nigga would call me Bernie. You gotta give it to somebody. They crack a joke on you. If it's funny, it's funny. That shit was funny. But yeah, no, it's cool to call me Bernie. Oh man, but Boomer Sooner, what's up? Salute to you. William Webster, Stoic One. What's going on? Kenny Khan Joe in the building. My man Pablo Fresh Cabar in the building. Ricardo Roddy, Sugar G, Christopher Clipper. Let's see who else we got in here. Soul Provider, Mace Taggart. Don Calypso in the building. David Monroe Wood coming here with some doom and gloom. Might need your opinion on this one if you're available. Or you could give it, or you can just give it from there. What's up, Gab? What's going on? This is a topic you could weigh in on too, Gab. Because I'm interested to hear what people say, because I've been thinking about this one with this topic. How to fix a bad culture. And when I look at times when there were really, really big cultural changes, the last one that we could think of when it was just a really big cultural change, that was around, the civil rights movement and, the movements of the 60s and 70s. That was the last time that we can really think of a really huge cultural overhaul where things really changed. That was the last time. And that took a lot. So when we be talking about a lot of this stuff, what's wrong with the black community, whether we're talking about it from the place that it gets talked about in the manosphere a lot, where a lot of guys are talking about the women. A lot of women are talking about the men on the other side. Then the pro-blacks got all the stuff that they talking about, or we need to do this, or it's the white man this, is a white man that. And it's like, I'm not hearing nothing that sounds like a culture is about to change. The only thing I hear that really truly sounds like something is about to change, something is about to be different, something is only thing I can really hear is people that talk about something. Shout out to Chris Rock. When you talk about the Civil War in America, one side is black people, the other side is niggas. The only thing I hear that remotely makes sense, that remotely sounds like it's something that, where an actual change can happen, is those who got their head on straight, those who are about something, they do better. They go do better. They separate. It's almost like you separate, you do better. The people who meet a certain threshold, jump over the hurdles, they make it into the club and they're over there doing better. I've always said that one of the problems with black people, and we know this is an age-old problem with integration, is that a lot of the good black people who are worth a damn are sprinkled into a lot of different white communities. So they're not there, in the black community, or that term, I use air quotes with this, building the black community, because I damn near hate that term. Damn near hate that term because it's ill-defined. What are we doing? Different people think different things when they think about building a community. I'm going to take a lot from the peanut gallery here, see what y'all talking about a lot on this one. Stoic One says, well, Don Calypso says to Stoic One, Black America, women cannot claim Bernard Riley hasn't done anything to help the community. Bernie's Bundles provides essential service. Yeah, I got that. That's why I was hesitant to even bring that up, man. I was hesitant to bring that up. Because I know Negroes in this space was going to have too much to say about that. But it's some real shit, black men. We do need to take over that hair business. We do need to take it over. The Asian man is making all that money. Asian men making all that money, selling all that fake hair to black women. We should be getting a piece of that pie. So that was, part of the motivation. Part of the motivation. The most part of the motivation. Counselor Murray, I'm going to get back on that in a second. Because business is part of what you can do to save, to fix a community. But you're not fixing the people within it. You're not fixing the culture. Just giving people more jobs. And some people believe that that's enough. You give them a job, they're going to go through a metamorphosis and turn into a completely different type of people. I don't know. Counselor Murray says, good morning, fellas. Productive black people can't outproduce the dysfunctional ones. And the dysfunctional ones won't listen to the productive ones anyway. Very strong points there. Very strong points there. So I'm definitely with that. I'm definitely with that. Like I said, hit the like button on the way in. We're gradually getting up to 100 people in here. So hit that like button. Hit that like button. Let everybody know you're here. I came on a little later. I haven't even tagged the video. I just hopped on at the last minute. Like I said, y'all, there's no background noise now, but y'all will hear some momentarily because it's a lot going on here. Y'all know I got cheering and whatnot. So sometimes it's going to happen. I talked about how I got a really small house here, but I've talked about how I'm going to try to get a part of the house segmented off as much as I can, soundproof it as much as I can, and try to have a room really dedicated to this. So all of those things will be coming down the line. But in the meantime, just hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. David Monroe, Mr. Doom and Gloom himself, says Angela Stanton knows how to save the black community. She bitch slapped the whole breakfast club with facts and logic. So, and I saw about half of that. And yeah, she was giving them the business. She was giving them the business. And that's what happens when and that's part of what's going wrong with black culture, or part of it, not the whole thing, but that's what goes wrong when black people try to go full on with the liberal thing. We just get off in real goofy territory. We're arguing and fighting for shit that don't got nothing to do with us. Now, the best argument that I've heard is that black people, seeing as we were and / are the hated minority in this country, seeing as we are that, and we had to fight for the rights, and we had slavery, then Jim Crow, then the civil rights movement, and all of that. Now we can't sit here in 2020 and be practicing anything exclusionary. So when they got on the whole thing about gay people, I've heard the argument that we can't be against that because of the mere fact that we were the ones that the country was against. That's the argument. And I know I see the obvious flaws in that argument. What's the difference between skin color and your sexual orientation and blah, 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 and this or that and all of that. But I do think that that's why it just turns into a situation where, black people going just full all in, pushing all the cards to the table when it comes to liberalism, because the liberals fight for the little guy. And here we are, the emphatic internal little guy. And we're so we got to be on board whole hog with them. And we're bunched in with, with gay people, with the immigrants and all of that. And then it's the feminist agenda. And we just going, it's like, so black people get far upfield and start talking about shit that don't got shit to do with black people. And that's what she called them on. That's what she called them on. That's how she literally picked their pocket on that shit. And that's, if I was a little more organized, what I would have been doing a show on today. But I ended up just talking about culture, but I knew that was going to come up. So I knew that was going to be touched on. And there's some of that background noise that I told y'all about. But yeah. And if it's going, so this is what I'm seeing. It's a bunch of nigga shit that goes down in the hood. Then the people, the leadership, they're talking about a lot of liberal stuff that's going far to the left, so far to the left, they don't got nothing to do with us, because you got them on the Breakfast Club arguing for transgender children, stuff that don't got nothing to do with us. Then you got the people who do speak strictly and strongly and firmly for us. A lot of them are just too pro-black for their own damn good. So there's no message. And I hate to say this, but it's like the people who be talking about separation, not no extreme hardcore separation, but the mere fact that there's black people that got it together. And when those black people get it together and they go their own way, so to speak, and black people who got it together too can come with them, it's almost like it turns into a class thing, where it's like the ignorant niggas just get left behind and left there. And it turns into a de facto let it burn thing, because I don't know how those that got sense can really help and save. Well, I got an idea. Can really help and save those that are not moving correctly. Now, I mentioned before, give them jobs. And I mentioned before that it's not a bad idea to think that the black people that have made it, who are successful, would create job opportunities for for those that aren't as, business savvy or forward advancing, those that may not have education or any particular skills. They don't got a whole lot of skills. But that's kind of how America works. There's a lot of white people that don't got a whole lot of skills, but they got jobs. There's a lot of black people that don't got a whole lot of skills, but they got jobs. I always talk about the blue collar factories that I worked in. A lot of people in there, high school diploma, GEDs. Yes, you get some skilled trades and some, you know, it's going to be some very skilled trade, very smart people in there doing a lot of, important technical jobs, but a lot of people, the bulk of the labor, are just people with high school diplomas or GEDs. Employing those people do matter. It does matter. The culture may be jacked up. The out of wedlock birth rate may be jacked up, but more people having jobs is a good thing. You would think that they would get their money. Shout out to Kevin Samuels, because he did a show on something that I talk about a lot, just the average people, the average Joe people. He did a good show on that yesterday. So you would think if, the blacks who got it together built more businesses and created more jobs for those that were less skilled, they would get that job, they would put their head on straight, couples would pair off and put their money together and be middle class and raise some middle class kids who will grow up and do great things. Bada boom, bada bing, culture problem solved. That sounds good. And it sounds like it could be done. It sounds like it's feasibly possible. But a lot of the people that are really talented in that regard are working for white companies making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're happy, and they should be happy, and they're not obligated to give of themselves for any greater Ungalan Black Power cause. But jobs matter, and possibly giving jobs to those who are not as skilled and not as smart. Me and Obsidian talked about the IQ thing the other day, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But the fact of the matter is, there are lower IQ people of every culture, every race, and they do need to be put to work. And that goes back to, as someone said, Bernie's bundles. Yeah, I got to shout out Ramil on this one. Black people who are productive, who are business minded, who are business savvy, if they could build businesses, and it's like, okay, it's two different mindsets. You think if a black person is doing anything in the black community, that he's doing it. I'll get out of there, Omega Dregs. He says some are allergic to work. Get out of there. All right, I'm reading comments. Let me get back to what I was saying. You niggas. I'm probably going to drop this link early and get some thoughts from other people on this one. What was I saying? I was talking about, oh yeah, it's different thoughts on this. See, we have too much of a mindset of, you got to build the community, got to do that. I mean, I really don't think other people think like that as much as we think they do. I think those among them that are business savvy are thinking, I'm about to make some money and I'm about to use my people as labor to get this money. And when all is said and done, if I've provided some jobs for people that look like me, great. At the end of the day, I made money. I always bring up the example of Sam Walton. He was, if you read up on his story, he was a ruthless motherfucker. Shut down plenty of small businesses. He didn't care. He was going to move his big superstore right next to, put it right in the heart of a community that was living off small businesses. Shut those small businesses down, employ all those people, as many of them as he possibly can, move on to the next one. Died a billionaire, employing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. But he provided jobs for his community. And it's almost like, yeah, that we have black people who are talented and got the business know-how and wit, and that they can do something similar and provide the jobs. Will providing the jobs change the culture? I don't know. That is yet to be determined. And the job situation isn't as bleak as a lot of people think. You know, you compare black employment to white employment, is not that huge of a difference. It's not. At least not from what I'm seeing. From all the data that I look at, about 72% of white men are in the labor force, something like 68% of black men, something like 71% of black women. So yeah, we need to get into the 70s. Black men creating businesses could very well get us there. But anyway, Pablo Frescobar says, civil rights movement was for the black middle class. The black men who organized it were college educated or former military men who wanted their educated children to have access to professional jobs. Very good point. Very good point. Machismo, who's a bona fide certified card carrying troll, as far as I'm concerned, because you was over here talking shit one day, and the things that you were saying were pretty anti whatever men are talking about. What you were saying was pretty anti that. Then you went over to. Then I saw you at the breakdown. Do they call that the pipe down? I keep hearing the pipe down. Is that what they talking about? Do they call it a breakdown in women's perspective? Do they call that the pipe down now? My ear don't be to the YouTube streets as much as it should be. But anyway, he says, but I saw him over there saying opposite shit. He was trolling over there and he'd be trolling over here, making opposite arguments either way. He says, if white people think they are losing control of their country, they're going to act out. No, they're not. No, they're not. Half of them are fighting hard with all they can to elect a president that's going to help them lose control. I mean, those of them that are standing up and getting Trump in there, they are definitely doing something. They're doing something that moves in the direction of white people, staying the majority. But liberal policies, democratic policies, is going to make them not be the majority. And once they're not the majority, we're going to see the landscape and we're going to see the demographics of the Senate. We look at all the high up positions. House of Representatives, the Senate, the governors, all of that is going to be a demographic difference. We're going to notice it. We're going to see that shit plain as day. So yeah, they're losing their country. At least that's how they would word it. I just watched half of a documentary called The Alt-Right on Netflix. And yeah, they already talking like a marginalized minority that's losing their country. So there's that. I saw the breakdown in here. I don't know if that's Sister George or Concrete, but what's up? You had a good topic yesterday. Not yesterday, the other day I was talking about protection. I wanted to come up. I ain't had time, but I haven't. I don't know. I wanted to briefly come up and say on that because I got a different take on the whole protection of black women thing. And I wanted to come up and just drop that in the conversation and leave. I wasn't trying to hang out, but I did duck in there for a second. I did want to speak on that. But we're talking about culture here. David Monroe, the Prince of Darkness, says we look at what happens in Seattle, that's our future. David Monroe, I'm about to drop the link I'm about to drop the link because yeah, I want to get y'all on this one. But a lot of what we're talking about here, when we talk about all this stuff in the Black manosphere, we are talking about culture. We're talking about culture. Edward Anderson said he's going to start doing a little series on that, talking about culture and how the culture is messed up. Right? It's messed up through feminism. Shout out to Zero whenever I mention feminism. Shout out Zero on that one. Zero's doing good work over there. But when we're talking about, when we're talking about this shit, we're talking about culture. We're talking about the shit that went wrong, how it went wrong, and how we got here. Why are we here? Why are we here even talking about all of this shit? Why are we even here talking about all this shit? It's because the culture is fucked up. And how do you fix it? And I will admit I struggle. Other than creating a lot of jobs. For people, and I'm not sure if that changes the culture, but other than that, I'm not sure how you change the culture in a major way. Because we look at what happened that made the culture change in the 60s and 70s, and that was a lot. And I don't know if that kind of overhaul is even in play. Because even with all that's going on right now, where the country is burning to the ground, we're just not seeing, I don't see any major cultural change in the Black community. And I think culture is a bigger problem than police brutality, gentrification, you name the problem. Dr. Umar Johnson, he named off the things that he thought, just when he was on the Breakfast Club, he named off the 5 or 4 things that he thought was the most, holding back or hurting of the Black community. Things that was hurting the Black community the most. He brought up all of those things, and he, what he had to say, he named off a list of things that were, he said redlining. Like, really? I've heard BGS, smart people like BGS, break down the redlining thing. And even then, I wasn't fully thinking like that. It still didn't seem like a big issue. At the end of the day, if you're a Black person and you got credit and you want to live in a house, you don't have to live. You don't got to live where they tell you got to live. Even if they try to steer you in a direction, you can say no. God damn it. I got this much money. I got this much credit. I want this house. If that bank not giving you the loan for it, go to another one. Fucking fight to live where you want to live. So no, I don't buy the redlining argument. Gentrification is not really that big of a deal. It's culture. Police brutality is a problem, but there's data that flies in the face of a lot of it, but it's culture. Buck Dodgers 1906 says, just paying my dues after what C Boogie said about you doing drive-by disses. You deserve this, brother. Did he say something else other than the Bernie joke? Only thing I heard is the Bernie thing. And he said something like, I'm on Obsidian's genitalia. Or something like that. Something of the sort. Something of the sort of which I don't care. Don't care what he got to say there. But a few people have said that, and I'm like, well, I don't really care to deal with that. But, well, I guess some people see one man on another man's nuts. What I see is a good business, good working relationship. I see good business, but whatever. People are allowed to see what they want to see. I see good networking. I heard somebody say he owns his nuts. Who the real alpha over there? I'm like, come on, man. Come on. Chief Rocka says negative. Congressional districts that span east and west of the Mississippi that are predominantly red. Those married white households will vote for what is in their best interest. Well, how do you explain the white? Well, okay. If you're talking about Mississippi, you're talking about the South, we know they going red. Some of them don't even vote what's in their best interest unless they're thinking about some collective cultural shit. But it's a lot of poor white people that are on welfare but rock a Make America Great Again hats. There's a lot of them in Mississippi. They rocking a Make America Great Again hat while on welfare. So figure that one out. So I'm not so convinced that they will do what's in there. They're already not voting in their best interest. But those are the ones who are just voting off of the idea, you know. They're voting off the idea of it, the idea of Republican, of conservatism. I don't really think they live in it. There's a lot of poor white people that ain't living it, but they voting for it. They don't want to vote with you niggers. You niggers vote Democrat. But thank you for that super chat, Chief Rocka. Gab, Real Conversation, says major cultural changes happen when people are deprived of basic human rights. What do you mean by that? Justice, equality for too long. Once dissatisfaction is high enough, people move, as you can see. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. No, Gab, I'm not going to forgive them typos, man. You got to come better than that. Gabe A says redlining was done, but if you're solid financially, a financial institution will loan to you. That is true. People talk about that like it's still the big problem of today. He said, I'm simply saying they will vote 45 back in office. Yeah. No, it's some of them that do think like that, who do understand that, who are looking at this thing in a very similar way that the Richard Spencers of the world and the Jared Taylors of the world are looking at it like it is a fight for this country. Like every white person who had a Bernie Sanders or a Joe Biden sign in their yard, they're voting Democrat. There's a percentage, not all, but there's a percentage of white Republicans who look at them like they're committing an act of war against whiteness. An act of war against whiteness, because those liberal policies are going to change the landscape of this country. Like we talking about colonialism and all of that. We're talking about colonizing. Like if this was, or this is supposed to be a white country built by white people, and you know, the descendants of the people that built this country is supposed to be their country. Well, we're looking at it. Their shit is getting colonized. Their shit is getting it's a slow, unique colonizing process that's happening here, where everybody else has just came in, integrated, rather, you know, the people that came as slaves, whereas the people that just migrated over here, the immigrants that came over here, everybody is just gradually just getting in here, reproducing and becoming citizens and voting and doing all of that. And then gradually over time, white people are less and less and less. And then the preaching of diversity, and a lot of the white people, the liberal whites, loaded up with their white guilt, who are accepting and embracing diversity, are ultimately embracing things that's going to make people of other races who do think more, you know, race first than, you know, white people do. Because if white people thought race first, they would all vote the same exact way. Just like black people. all vote the same exact way. David Monroe, thank you for the cash app. I appreciate that. Black people are far more race first than white people because you will never see black people that divided. The only slight division we're seeing with black people is this gradual slight division that we're seeing right now, where more black men are going Republican. And that speaks back to this culture thing, how we just got different things going on here. Now, I've dropped this link in here a bunch of times. And I have no problem with wrapping this thing up early and going to get something to eat. I have no problem with that. If y'all ain't trying to come up and chop it up, I can go for a little longer and call it a nice, short, quick, easy show and be done. And I would be happy with that. I really would. My man Black Wolf Inc. came through with another super chat. Well, it's probably your first one today. But I always say another one because he's always hitting that super chat. Black Wolf Inc. came through. He says, peace, love, and good morning, my people. I don't got the echo box the Shazam, to hit you with the Shazam, bitches. He says, oh, Captain, my captain. Where that come from? Why do you say that? That sounds weird. I'm starting to get weirded out by that. Oh, Captain, my captain. Is that a line from a movie? Where the fuck you get that from? But Black Wolf Inc., that's my man. He always hit the super chat, always putting something in the tip jars. Days when didn't nobody hit the super chat, but Black Wolf hit it 5 times. That's my dude. Even when he clowning and deleting every damn comment. I think I got a lot of people that just listen from the clouds, probably because of you. They scared to comment. You don't play no games. And Bush 850 says we can't fix it because too many of our people have fact allergies. Damn, that's a good word. Fact allergies. They fall out when too much truth is being told. Holy shit. You hit them below the belt with that one. He said fact allergies. Harambe in the building. 45 will win, especially after he drops another stimulus check right before the election. I don't know if people are as moved to vote for Trump based off those stimulus checks, because I always said that if Trump is doing that, we know damn well a Democratic president, whether it was, whether we had Hillary, Biden, or Bernie in the chair, they would have did the same damn thing. Bernie would have gave probably more. So, I don't know if people are going to be that moved just by a stimulus check, because I think in these times that would have got issued out either regardless. So, if Trump did it, Bernie Sanders would have did it, because that he just about giving up everything. He want college free. He want everything free. He just want to just be a goddamn money machine for the American peoples. But okay, it looks like we're about to piece a panel together, because I see Kevin Samuels in the queue. So look like we're about to piece together a panel. Pablo Frescobar, go ahead. What's on your mind? Well, let me read Counselor Murray real quick and then let Kevin Samuels up. He says, okay, so we changed some packaging labels and had some white people kneel. Oh my goodness. Are the riots truly about culture change? No. Or just about blowing off some steam? Woo! Good shit. Good shit. But Pablo, you got it. And we got the Prince of Darkness coming on up too. So we're about to see what's about to happen here. But Pablo, go ahead.
How you doing, man?
Doing great.
So the culture. Let me ask you this, and maybe I'll ask the same thing of Kevin and see if he has a thought on it. What aspects of Black American culture today would you like to keep and transfer over to your children? What aspect about the food, the music, the traditions? Is there any of it that you can point to? I'm not talking about what transpired in the 1960s, 50s, and I mean like what currently in the culture right now would you like to take and transfer and give over to your children? Is there any aspect of it currently as it exists that you would like to continue to pass on?
Hmm. Well, I mean, you mentioned the. I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of a weird question, but you did. You mentioned the food. You mentioned the music.
There's nothing new.
Go ahead, Kevin. Yeah, because
There's nothing new. I mean, you eliminated all the culture. Basically, you eliminate what we associate with Black culture, and then ask us what we like to keep. I don't know what else is there.
But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is almost everything that is a part of the culture now is new. The hip hop that we listen to right now is not the hip hop of 1985.
But I thought you said not the music.
Well,
Music, the hip hop, all music is a progression.
right. Well, let me say this, okay? My wife comes from a Latin culture, so bachata now is bachata in 1960, is bachata in 1990, is bachata in 2020. Salsa, merengue, it don't change. It is what it is now and forevermore.
So
Our
is jazz,
culture is
jazz.
jazz is jazz. You know, you
Really?
you have smooth jazz. You have
But there was no smooth jazz in the 20s and 30s and 40s.
there wasn't. You're right.
It's an evolution, but it starts somewhere. I guess I'm kind of confused on ultimately. What are you asking? Is there anything about the latest latest derivations of the culture worth keeping?
Right. That we want to keep.
But you got to give us the past in order to ask that. Like the current state of rap or the current state of rap. I don't like the current state of rap. I don't like the current state of music because it's harkens back to right around the turn of the 70s to the 80s when we had heavily synthesized.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean artists are not creative. They're just speaking through their medium. When I was when dance, when I was a teenager, you remember they used to outlaw us from breakdancing. They would send the police to break up.
True.
People. So every generation thinks the new generation is fucked up. That was the whole premise of Footloose.
Good morning, guys. I want to ask
before you go, David Monroe. Let me shout out these couple. Got a couple super chats to shout out. Fatal Dose says thank you. He said Democrats wanted to bail out the companies and Trump fought against it. Blacks need to stop voting based on color and vote for ideology. Black Wolf Inc. says last night's stream was pure inferno heat. Kevin Samuels, I agree. Congrats on nearly 2K viewers. I thought he did hit 2K last. Yeah. I saw it hit 2K.
It's crazy. I don't know what the fuck.
Hey, just keep riding that wave. Keep riding it, man. Yeah, keep riding it. But by next month you should have 3K. Yeah, keep riding it, dude. Yeah, don't change nothing. Well, but also, okay, yeah, that's it on the super chats. Okay,
okay. Honestly, can we ever say we imagine a manosphere or a black male show run by a black man who has red pill ideologies per se? Okay, having that many viewers that consistently by himself,
yeah.
You couldn't do it without the women. And women are coming over to try to hear men's voices. Why? I mean, you got to ask yourself, why aren't the guys telling women what they want to hear? I think Derek Jackson, that kind of stuff, since we use them as an avatar, why don't they have shows and live stream? Because they'd have to listen to the men as well. And at the end of the day, they have information in snippets. See, it's to make a pre-recorded video It's much easier to make a live stream. You have to actually be what you say you are, because there's too many ways to fall apart and fail. And when you start to see women, especially young women, young people looking for answers, you watch my show. There's a big difference between 35 and under, 35 and older. And I think how you start to change culture is people have to understand that there's a problem with it. Folks, I mean, I don't people haven't really actually seen a problem, because what? Their belly's full, their needs are met, and in general, things are okay. But okay is the problem in our culture. We've got a culture of not excellence, just mediocrity. And in order for the culture to change, one of the things people have to start being unhappy with just all right.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, what I was getting at,
hold on, Pablo. David Monroe was trying to get in here, and I actually got to step off. I had to step away for 2 minutes. So Kevin, go ahead and moderate. Little Big Nate, I saw your comment. You said you've been on Obsidian panels, and you're right. I'm not exactly familiar with you, but if you've been on Obsidian panels, I trust you're not about to come up here and say nothing crazy when I step away. But Kevin, go ahead and moderate it. We're going to David Monroe, then Pablo, then Little Big Nate. All right.
Yeah, thanks. Good morning, everybody. And the two things. First off, to answer the question directly, I would probably piggyback off of what Kevin just said. We have to just embrace truth. We have to start being really, really brutally honest about our situation individually and as a group, and move on from there. Whatever the most, abrasive truth is, we need to look it square in the eye and accept it. If it's really true, if it's some negative about us as an individual or as a group, just accept it, because once you accept the truth, then you can begin to shape your reality better. And then also the question that Pablo laid out in the beginning about culture, I think he actually stumbled onto a good question, but I want to kind of rephrase it a little bit or redirect it. What is it that we could identify as Black culture, specifically as Black culture, that is also inherently or intrinsically positive or productive? Because that's the problem I think I see in Black culture. So much of what we tie to Black culture, when we throw around the word and the definitions that tend to get associated with that word, it tends to be things like we were talking about before, food and music, which is like, everyone has food and music. It's not necessarily the biggest cultural motivator in the world of your food. Music is definitely a cultural motivator, but what I'm getting at is like, other groups may have a culture of like actually building things, like physically building things, or other groups may have a culture of, we're military men. You come from a family of, I got we talk about these people in the South who still carry that rebel flag. I had a boss once, and he was an old redneck guy and stuff. He treated me fine. He wasn't like a racist or anything as far as I could tell, but he was a fucking redneck. And one day I was by his house. We had to pick something up from his house. And in his backyard, on a flagpole, like he stood a fucking flagpole up in his backyard and flew the rebel flag. And inside of his house, I saw something in there that made me not even question why he would fly the rebel flag, because we actually spoke about it. And he pulled out a book for me of his genealogy, his people. And he had ancestors that went all the way back and fought in the war, and he carried that flag because his people fought and died in that war. Now, whatever the politics of what was going on back then is kind of beside the point, because your blood was involved in the conflict and you have the right to remember them. And when we talk about the Black culture, I think a big part of what's wrong with Black culture is too much of our story, too much of our origin story is tied up into being slaves as opposed to overcoming slavery.
Yeah,
Well,
and so
I'm sorry.
so
Go
what
ahead.
I was getting at with my question was, because our culture is so trendy. Now, the great thing about it is that it's innovative, right? We innovate and create more new shit than any people on earth, right? The problem with it when it's always stuck on something trendy is it's harder to grab a cohesion between the generations when you don't save the old stuff?
Has black culture ever worked?
That's a good question.
Before 1965, it did.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think.
And what was it built around? It
Yeah.
was built around
Family, morals.
it was built around church and family.
Yeah.
What dictates black culture today? Okay, where do we find the roots of where we get our ideology from, how our women behave? It is all in our ties and allegiance to the Democrat Party, folks. I harp on this. I've been on a few panels. Hey, Kevin Samuels, Bernard, I appreciate you letting me up. I know you're not familiar with me. Pablo, I've seen you on a lot of Obsidian stuff. And I harp on this, and I will continue to harp on it until somebody either tells me I'm wrong or I can convince enough people that I'm right. We have pledged our allegiance to the Democrat Party for the past 60 years, okay? All we have, let's just assess what we've gotten from that. What have we gotten from it? We have entire cities that are run by black Democrats, okay? Most of the communities in those cities.
Have you ever been on BGS's platform? BGS Hit More?
No, sir. I've never been on BGS.
Go ask BGS the question about culture and debate him about that point, because I'm quite sure he would tell you you're incorrect. And he's probably the foremost person in the manosphere to have a real in-depth discussion about culture. After him, Edward Anderson would probably be the next closest person that would have.
I would love to. So
because oftentimes the word culture is really misused, but BGS is probably the oracle on this subject.
Well, our culture celebrates the death of black children, 20 million since 1973. Our culture.
Now you're going off to see. That's why I said BGS. Our culture does not celebrate that,
sir.
Inside our culture,
today, sir.
Hold on. To say we celebrate it is not true.
Sir, there are black women on panel.
Where do we have abortion parties?
Sir, may I interject, Kevin?
Well, yeah, but you have to, when you say celebrate, man, you have to be careful.
No, this is a new development. The celebration has begun.
Kevin, let me
celebrate means something.
Kevin, let me prove my point. Let me prove it. I have seen several panels of black women, not only on the panels, but in the comments, saying if you have a black son, you should abort him.
But that's those are women, and I'm not saying it's right, but hold on. Just like I did not allow a woman to come on last night talking about using a word like that, celebrate, to honor or praise publicly. The black culture does not honor or praise publicly abortion, murder of 23 million children. Look, you can call me, look, dude, just use a different word.
I'm trying to have a conversation.
I'm just saying we don't celebrate it.
I disagree.
What do you call a slut march? What is the slut march? What are they celebrating there? What are they marching for at the slut march?
Thank you, Dave. Also, Kevin.
Now you're conflating.
Kevin.
Now those are two things you're conflating.
Kevin, does feminist culture celebrate the freedom to murder your children? Would you agree?
The net of it is you can believe what you want, but you said this black culture celebrates the murder of 23 million children. That's not what the black culture does.
Black feminist culture celebrates their right to abortion, Kevin. They celebrate.
All right. Tell me where you've seen in the public a praise or honor publicly of 23 million abortions.
I see the praise and the demand that they continue to have the right to abort their children. And all abortion is a way to get out of the responsibility of your wayward sexual behavior. That's all it is, Kevin. It's a way to get out from the responsibility.
Whoa, what's up? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna ask you to kind of back down, man, because I don't know you,
sir.
Hold on, dude.
I'm stating my positions. That's
what
I'm
going to ask you.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Excuse me. Bernie asked me to moderate the panel, okay? Sure. And I'm going to ask you to just respect his show and take some of that bass out your voice and aggression, dude. We're just talking.
Bruh.
There's no bruh, dude. I mean, can we talk like grown dadgum men? Why do you, I don't understand why, guys, you can have your position, but we're supposed to be having a conversation. Can you just have a conversation?
Kevin, okay.
Okay, all right. Let me try to Let me. All right,
Can
I'm
I
back. I'm back. Let me try
question in?
to. Well, hold on, David. This is what I think we're getting at here. I think what you're trying to say is that I'm talking to little big Nate. I think what you're trying to say is that black people or black women have a lot of abortions. The laws in this country permit them to have a lot of abortions. So it's one thing to criticize the culture or the race or the group of people that are having the most abortions. It's another thing to say that we're celebrating the birth of 23 million. I mean, the death of 23 million unborn children. That is a different thing. Yes, you probably can find some people out there who are, high-fiving about an abortion. Yes, I've seen that where a woman, they had a trip planned, a girl's trip planned. One of them came up pregnant. They got she got an abortion, and they woohoo, let's go.
Kevin said that didn't exist.
No, he did. I don't think he said.
I didn't say that.
No, hold on. It's one
No,
thing.
he said it was anecdotal.
Hold on. Hold on. It's one thing to acknowledge that there are individuals that do that, but I think the majority of black people will look at that and say, "Ooh, that's fucked up what just happened right there." So for that reason, you can't just wholesale say that we are a culture that celebrates it. You can make your point.
Wait a minute. Can I help out a little bit?
Just hold on. You can. The same point can be made. Just got to word it different without the word celebrate. Because words matter. I think that's the point that Kevin.
Okay.
Is trying to make.
Words matter. All right. If words matter so much, what words do we soak up most in our entertainment? Fucking hip hop. And you're gonna tell me hip hop doesn't celebrate death? So let's take it off the women.
I agree with that.
So wait. So the women are innocent, but only the men celebrate death. Bullshit. We all love it.
I'm not hearing.
We kill our brothers and they kill our babies.
If I could chime in,
I got you on that, David.
Bernard, I apologize for disrupting your panel.
No, you cool.
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I don't know how to calmly have a conversation about 20 million dead black babies. I honestly don't. I get passionate about this subject. I can't talk about 20 million dead black babies in the last 46 years the way I talk about, cars or ice cream or anything else. I get passionate about this. Okay. Do you know we would still continue to be the second largest minority in this country without the advent of abortion and black women accepting it and embracing it and pledging their allegiance to Democrat and feminist ideology? Sir, I'm not trying to get in an argument with you. I have no desire.
I'm not going to argue. Go ahead and do what you say. What you got.
I have no desire to argue.
Go ahead and make your points, man. I'm just
all right.
I'm not going to go back and forth about it. I'm just saying. All I said, we don't celebrate it. You got to be upset about that.
Okay. Well, we disagree.
Ernie said the same thing,
and that's fine. And David agrees with me.
You guys disagree on the using of the word celebrate, but I would lay it out. It's in our culture. We dance to it every night. How do we not celebrate?
Flesh that out. Explain how are we dancing to it?
We celebrate death. Turn on your radio at 8:00 tonight, and if a song, hell, damn near some of our love songs even talk about a nigga getting killed here and there. But the majority of the music we listen to revolves around men killing other men at some point in that 3.5 minutes of a song. It's gonna come up, and we don't.
Hold on, Nate.
Okay. We don't stop dancing for a second to consider the fact that we are dancing over the idea of one man killing another man over some goofy shit.
Right.
We never consider that. We just dance right along. So when he brings the same argument to something like abortion, how is it that different?
Okay. Now this is the only difference I saw. And keep in mind, you're making some good points, and I'm halfway home with you, because it is true, and I've said that plenty of times, that celebrating now you got me using the word celebrating, putting it in the music like that and repetitively making songs about black men killing other black men and rhyming it into words to a beat and a rhythm, and the guys who are out there emulating the look and the aesthetic of those men who are rapping about that, and those guys going around carrying guns, and the music is just gradually desensitizing them to the idea of shooting another black man. So when they get in a conflict with another young black man, I agree with the argument that rap music is influencing a lot of the violence, at least some of the violence out there. Okay. I think the connection that you're making is you're saying that women celebrating the slut culture thing, they're ultimately de facto in a small way, gradually celebrating abortion. The only difference is we can hear songs with hardcore descriptive lyrics talking about killing another man. You go listen to a rap battle, it's like listening to 1,000 Ways to Die. They coming up with all kind of creative ways to kill somebody with a metaphor at the end of it. You don't exactly hear that with abortions. Okay, they're
Well,
it's not a song. Hold on, real quick. It's not a song where they're in a rhyming it to a beat how they about to go to the abortion clinic. But I do get where you're saying how if they're talking about all the slutty, I mean, I do get how you get there, because a lot of them are coming up pregnant and a lot of them statistically are getting abortion, so they essentially celebrating abortion.
All right.
That's the long-winded.
I'm gonna make a wager.
That's the long-winded way that you can get there, that we celebrating abortion, but they're really celebrating slut culture and their freedom. But
I'm gonna make a wager on one. It's a matter of time before you hear a female rapper talk positively about her abortion. I guarantee it. It's a matter of time. You just haven't heard it yet, and I haven't either, for that matter. But it's coming. And also,
when that song, when that song becomes a hit and they twerking in the club to that song, you got your argument. They celebrating abortion.
Fair enough. Mark my words. Today is the day I made the proclamation. Now outside of that, the slut walk and when women march for abortion rights, those are celebrations in itself.
Now, what I see us doing, and I'm going to stand on what I said, not only do we celebrate abortion, we celebrate obesity. All these girls proclaiming their curviness, 250-pound Black women proclaiming how they're beautiful and they're curvy. We celebrate homosexuality. We're getting to the point where we're celebrating self-mutilating trans people. We are celebrating everything that is the absolute antithesis of the traditional Black nuclear family. And the traditional Black nuclear family is on the precipice of complete destruction in this country. If 26% of Black women are married and 32% of Black men are married, and the reason for the disparity between the two numbers is that almost 800,000 more Black men have married out. Marriage is moving in two different directions for Black men and Black women. Okay? So that is going to leave the traditional nuclear Black family obliterated. It will be gone. And unless
can I respond to David about some of this? Hold
on. Let little Big Nate finish his point, and then you got it, Pablo.
So unless we begin using terms that offend people, it's just going to be about over for us in this country. At the end of the day, the 30 to 40% of thinking, productive, competent, masculine Black men are going to be just fine. We'll be with other women. We'll be with women of other cultures. I hope we make attempts to be with other Black women of other cultures so we can continue to produce Black children. However, the likelihood you will have anywhere close to a majority, meaning over 51% of ADOS Black women and ADOS Black men coming together to form traditional nuclear families, that's going to be over if we don't start to seriously offend some people. Go ahead, Joe.
You got it, Pablo.
Okay, so David, are you aware that once upon a time that the majority of Blacks in this country were Republicans?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, I meant to talk to the other gentleman, the gentleman that was saying that Blacks are on the Democratic plantation.
Yes, sir. I'm listening, Pablo.
Yeah, we are on the plantation now.
Right. So you are aware that there was a time that the majority of Blacks were Republicans, right?
Absolutely. The Emancipation Proclamation brought us into the Republican Party. Yes, sir.
Right. And during Reconstruction and most of the time prior to the 1960s, most Black Americans were Republicans and generally very conservative.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
But, and here's the but, nothing really changed for us during that time as it related to the condition of Black people.
What
The
time
condition
specifically
and
are
the
you
way.
Hey,
referring
wait a
to?
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm not through. I'm not through.
No, I just want to nail down your time frame.
In addition, wait a minute. In addition, Asian Americans have been here since the late 1800s building the railroads. Asian Americans are the least politically active.
Oh shit, Pablo, you're borging on us.
I
Last
think
thing we heard you say is that Asians were the least politically active. You're borging, Pablo. Drop down and come back.
They are.
Pablo, you got to drop and come back. You
Well, I think where he was going with that is I've heard Thomas Sowell and actually Walter Williams, the two different Black professors, and they've made a similar point about how people tend to pursue wealth and then become politically dominant, whereas Black people seem to try to become politically dominant as a means to pursue wealth, and it's a non-starter. It hasn't worked ever in the history of Black politics.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that point.
Well,
Definitely.
and
real quick, fellas. Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to check on those likes real quick. I don't even got the YouTube feed up myself, but we got 334 people in here, and I know holy shit, that is ridiculous. We only got 101 likes. Come on, fellas, let's get these likes up. We got a good conversation in here, good back and forth going, good ideas on the table. Let's get those likes up. I know a lot of y'all probably came in, was enjoying the show, and just forgot to hit the like button. See, I see y'all right there. See, we just jumped up to 116. We definitely can get that up higher. Just jumped to 121. I appreciate everybody hitting that like button. Come on, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Just went up to 125. Do we see 150? Okay, got 133. 133. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep those likes going up. Let's get them up to at least 150. And I ain't even asking a lot. I should be demanding 220, 200 at least. But I'm just saying, let's get to 150 so we can continue this good conversation that we're having right here. Let's get them up to 150. Let's go. We at 142. Come on. Need 8 more people. 8. No, hold on. We're going to wait. We're going to go ahead and wait.
Oh, okay.
8 more people. No, 7. Okay, now 5. Okay, so I appreciate the 2 thumbs down, but the likes got to hit 150. 148. Let's go. 2 more likes so we can keep the show. Okay, we at 153. Keep that going. Keep the momentum going, but we can begin the conversation. I think Little Big Nate was trying to say something. Let's go.
All right, gentlemen. I would like to make my position clear. I'm not a Republican. Okay. If I've been on Obsidian's panel a couple of times, I've been on a breakdown once. I was even on Mr. Fantastics a couple of days ago. I am not a Republican. I don't tell Black people to vote Republican. I am a traditionalist who believes in the nuclear Black family with a competent, productive Black man at its head. And it will just so happen if any Black man who believes similar to what I just stated, there is no place for you in the Democrat Party. No place. Okay. Your ideology aligns most with the ideology of the Republican Party, if that's how you feel. I am not telling you to become a Republican. I am telling you to look at the 2 political parties and make a coherent decision on which one of them and their policies will lead to Black men, competent, productive Black men being the head of their households. Which one? Okay. Black women run the Black community. I don't think anybody is going to debate that. Okay. The Democrat Black women have pledged their allegiance to the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party, their ideology is instructed by feminist ideology to a great degree. No one would deny that Black American women have the largest percentage of women that have a feminist ideology. Many of them don't even acknowledge that they're feminists. Now, white women have a vocal minority of feminist women. They're the ones on TV, on the MSNBC panels, on the CNN panels. There's not a lot of quote unquote Black feminists there, but Black American women have the largest percentage of women who adhere to a feminist ideology. And how do we prove this? The I don't need a man, the I'm a boss bitch and I'm a bad bitch sentiment that we hear from so many Black women, the I'm the mama and the daddy sentiment that we hear from so many Black women, the I don't need you, I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, I'm more accomplished than you. This is not inherent of our women. They're not inherently this backwards and insane. They were made to be this way. They were formed and fashioned and conditioned by an ideology that comes out of the Democrat Party to be this way. We have got to point to the root of this problem. And, I've been disruptive on Bernard's panel. I don't know if he's going to let me back on ever, but
you good. You good.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you the truth the way I see it, okay? Black women have pledged their allegiance to the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party tells Black women to celebrate abortion, celebrate obesity, celebrate being single, celebrate being single mothers, celebrate being belligerent, disrespectful, and uncooperative. Our women aren't inherently bad. They've been made bad by this party and these disgusting feminists and their ideology, okay? That's who's ruined our women. Now, when I was on the breakdown, the program before this, I said, Black women, you listen to all the wrong people. And they do. They listen to all the wrong people. And you can see by Kevin Samuel's success on his stream. I don't know the demographics, the breakdown, male, female of his listeners. I hope he could answer that and discuss that. But if a majority of Black women are coming to this man who's being quite frank and honest with them, and they'll stay to listen, this is revolutionary, gentlemen.
Yes.
They are beginning to listen to us. They're beginning to listen to the correct people. I told Concrete Rose and I told Sister George, I said, every woman needs the guidance of a man that loves her. The difference between the men on this panel and jawline select niggas, and this may sound blue pill, it may sound corny. Let me just speak for myself. I don't want to speak for the men on this panel. I'll let them speak for themselves. I genuinely love Black women. And because I do, I tell them the truth. I'm going to give them an opportunity to hear the truth, and then they can decide whether or not they're going to change or they're going to head down that same track that has them on a bullet train to hell. Loneliness, being obese in some fucking convalescent home by the time they're 60 years old. That's all I got, gentlemen.
Damn. Good shit. Good shit. Good shit. You swung for the fences right there. I liked all of that. And I'm not going to nitpick you on celebrate abortion, but you do that. You are right. The obesity, the single mother rate, the bad attitude, and a couple other things that you mentioned. It is a culture that celebrates that. It's songs and campaigns and all kind of slogans for all of that other shit. But so you definitely got it right on there. Ty City did say something about I'm gonna pass it to Fantastic, but I just want to think on that. He said they're made bad by the Democratic Party. He said that's a cop out. I do want him to elaborate on that one, because I don't like. I'm not even gonna get into that. But sometimes. Whenever somebody is saying the outside force made them that way, I don't know. I think people are who they are. They're going to gravitate. They're going to be who they are regardless of the landscape. But if the landscape is set up in a way that makes it easier for them to be, the fucked up or contrary individual that they naturally would be anyway, then they it's almost like they just have shelter. They have coverage and protection, within their fuckery.
It's a simple explanation. Power corrupts. That's it.
Yeah,
power
there you
corrupts.
Go. There you go.
Power.
All right, Fantastic. Go ahead, brother. You got the floor. You got the mic. Pick it up wherever you want.
Shout out everybody in the building, man. What's going on, man?
What's up?
Yeah, I mean, well,
the whole abortion aspect of it, that should be cut and dry. I understand the whole pro-choice, pro-life, all of those things, and so on and so forth. But again, when you just had Angela Stanton come down and pretty much give you all the fucking stats, hands down, and this woman has literally been the woman to experience all of the things, right? Because I think she said her daughter was a product of rape. It's things like that. But she, either her daughter was a product of rape or her daughter was raped, one of the two. She said she's 27-year-old, going to college right now. The key thing she said was every person advocating for abortion is a person that wasn't aborted. You know what I mean? And that's why I say you have to let people speak sometimes, and some things is so cut and dry, but until somebody says it, it never really hits you. So we have a whole bunch of people that's running around here living, enjoying life, championing, if you don't want to say celebrate, but championing the option of abortion, and they didn't get aborted. Because if you did, you wouldn't be here to have the argument. So that's one part of it. As far as everything else goes, as far as the culture goes, man, I just think I told you it's easy to be with the nigga shit. That's what it is. I mean, if you're anything other than hood, and about, free my nigga and you can do what you want, only God can judge me, all this type shit, right? You're an outcast. You're a lame. You're all of these fucking negative things, and you're gonna have a difficult time amongst your peers in the Black community. So I just think now this is the perfect timing though, once you become an adult, when you're not supposed to give a fuck about people's opinion of you. My bad, sorry about the language, but you're not supposed to care about people's opinion of you as a grown ass adult who depends on yourself. You don't no longer have to worry about your parents, providing you with this and your friends and all these things and so on and so forth. You can change that at will because you're a grown ass human being. I think we just need to get out of this, again, 13th grade mentality. I think that a lot of Black people are stuck in the 13th grade. They want to be cool. They want to be accepted. They don't want to ruffle any feathers. They want to be able, invited to the cookout with everybody else and all this other shit. And I'm just saying, hey, man, sometimes, bro, you gotta leave the cookout eventually, man. It's too much work to be done for all this fun to be being had. I've said this for years, way before YouTube. All these people doing all these things and all these other things going on, but pressed and you out here twerking on the concrete. You bouncing your motherfucking vagina on the motherfucking concrete harder than that fucking jackhammer for Black Lives Matter. What the fuck is what's going on here? And nobody's calling it out. And if and when it does get called out, well, she's able to say, oh, well, I'm just expressing myself and all this BS. No, man, it's BS. And again, what we have to find out and understand is this. Somebody go, hey, everybody cannot be saved. Even in fairy tales and comic books, man, some of these people got to go. They got to go. And it may be your mama, it may be your brother, maybe your cousin, maybe even your own child. Once you're like they're the adult age, and they said in that way, everybody's not going to be able to make it to the promised land, bro. All right. And this is my little piece for now.
Can I address the issue of made bad real quick, Bernard?
Yeah, real quick, and I'm gonna pass it to somebody else.
Okay. Black women, there's only two choices in that when discussing that particular topic. They're either inherently bad, meaning they were born bad, or they were made bad by the culture and the ideology that they've adopted. Black women have been conditioned. Black men have been conditioned to be unproductive, to follow women. Black men have been conditioned to seek out the guidance of females. Black men, not a large percentage of us, but a significant percentage of us, have no problem moving into the houses of women. We drive women's cars and drop them off at work and then drive around in their car all day. I'm an auto damage appraiser, okay, for major insurance companies. I go around, I write estimates, and I manage the repair process with the shop, okay? Do you know how many times I've gotten an assignment sheet? The assignment sheet lets you know what are the particulars of this accident. And on the assignment sheet, it said, insured let boyfriend hold car. Insured's boyfriend took car. Insured's boyfriend had possession of car when it was wrecked. Okay? Are Black men inherently unproductive failures, or are they conditioned and made into that? I don't believe Black women are inherently evil or inherently bad. I believe Democrat and feminist culture turns them into what they are today.
Whether it's inherent, whether it's inherently or not. Listen, for that I say it's a bell curve. Some people are of all races, but black people, our shit seems to be a little more fucked up. And yes, culture can change that for a lot of people, but some people on a bell curve, they are just messed up. So it's some women who are just like that, and I'll stand on that one. It's some that just got to be avoided, regardless of the culture, regardless of the laws, regardless of the circumstance. It's some that just can't get right with black male and black female.
The majority of black women are made bad. You have a small percentage that there's a small percentage of black men that are going to be murderers, no matter how well you raise them. There's going to be a small percentage of men who rape women, no matter how loving their household was. But 80% of our women are feminists. 80% of our women look down on blue collar workers, as Kevin illustrated last night. Well, he didn't illustrate 80% of them, but the more he talks to black women, the more he's going to find how many of them loathe the idea of dating a plumber, a construction worker. It's disgusting. Our women aren't inherently horrible. They're made that way by the people that teach them and the people they decide to listen to.
I see now that part at the end, the people they decide to listen to, that takes away from the made that way, because I think that's where people get hung up on the made that way.
Okay.
They could choose. They've chosen to follow the wrong information. That's the best way to put it. I don't like to make any argument that takes volition and free will and the ability for grown people in a free country to make free decisions.
Well, Bernard,
that's the only thing that I think is rubbing.
I apologize. If I made you believe that, the more familiar you become with me, Bernard and panel, I make no excuses for black women.
Well, look, Big Nate, let me try to thread the needle a little bit, because I get what you're saying, but I think it's slightly off of where you are.
Okay.
It's like this. All right. Women in general have a certain type of nature to them. The same way men in general have a certain type of nature to them. And what I think you're describing is that when male nature is allowed to run amok, you wind up with motorcycle gangs terrorizing your countryside or something like that. Well, now the question of it is, what happens to the society when female nature is allowed to run amok? And I think that's what you're describing. It's not so much that they've been made bad, it's that all of their worst intentions are going unchecked.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to thread the needle real quick. Larry Ward, and that's a few people that dropped hold on real quick. It's a few people that dropped super chats that I didn't fully acknowledge. Sometimes it's difficult when the conversation is intense. But Larry Ward, thank you for the super chat. He says, "What up, though, from Florida? Peace, great discussion to hear on my born day." Oh shit! Happy birthday, man! Happy birthday, Sir Tice came through the super chat. He says many YouTubers, including older ones, encourage this and see driving her car as a form of get out of there. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. I try to stay away from the cheap shots. From the cheap shots. Come on. And oh yeah, classy young man. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. And all right, who got the mic?
Bernard. Before I got cut off there, I was in a bad cell area. But the point I was trying to make about politics as it relates to black people is we have been on both sides of the political fence at some point in history in this country.
Mm-hmm.
In neither instance did any of the political parties, quote unquote, save us, help us, lessen the damage done to us. Neither time. During Reconstruction, when blacks had the most gains they ever had, the Republican Party was in power and allowed it to go down to strip us of everything that we had gained. So I don't want to hear about the Republicans and the Democrats and all that old bullshit. Black people are not going to be saved by politics. If we get saved, it's going to be because we saved our damn selves.
Well,
so now if you want to apply conservative principles to that, I'll ride with you. But if you want to go into the political party shit, I'm not getting on.
Okay. Okay.
Because they've
Oh,
shown us.
oh,
Yeah, because both of them have shown us they don't care.
well,
Okay.
Pablo, if you agree with the conservative principles, then you really do have a conundrum when you decide to jump into politics because you don't have
What?
a lot of overlap between the two parties. There is a stark difference in the value system in one party versus the value system in another. And as much as you're right, the Republican Party is not a perfect beast. Okay, there is no perfect beast. What you're going to get is something that tends to side with you most of the time, and you're going to have to accept the way life is.
Now, let me state my position again. Okay, I don't know if you heard it, Pablo. I am not a Republican. I said this on Mr. Fantastic Show a couple of days ago. I am not a Republican. I do not tell Black people to vote Republican. My principles, morals that govern my life coincide with the Republican Party's principles, at least what they give lip service to. I am not trying to get Black people to operate under the impression the Republican Party is going to save them. I'm not that. What I am telling them, if you are a Black man who is interested in competent, productive Black men being at the forefront of the Black community and heading up its overall trajectory, we are going to get that from the Republican Party. You said that the Republican Party during Reconstruction didn't care about us. I'm the type of Black man that doesn't give a fuck who cares about me and who doesn't. I said this on Mr. Fantastic Show a couple of days ago. I don't give a shit who likes me and who doesn't. As a matter of fact, I would appreciate it if you didn't give a fuck about me. Leave me alone. Give me the lane. Give me my opportunities. I will develop my talents and my skills, and I'll dominate and be just fucking fine. I don't need any political party to like me. The problem,
and that was the point. That was the point that I was making about the Asian community, and they don't even participate in the system.
Yeah,
they still win.
Sir,
let me hop in here real quick. Can I just
Go ahead,
They
Fantastic.
don't even participate in it, and they still win.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
this is my thing, my little big name. And like I said, you said what you said. I think that Black men in general, we should be non-party. Period. I mean, I'm not, again, for us. We really, this is the time of all times for us to establish us and say, hey, look, I'm not worried about your policies. I'm not worried about Democratic policies. Here are our policies. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to really start changing the the delivery and the verbiage to that. The Republican Party doesn't care about us. Democratic Party doesn't care about us. The Democratic Party comes to you with trinkets and gold that's really brass, and the motherfucking Republican Party comes say, hey nigga, you can kiss my ass. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You know what I mean? The whole point is we have to establish our own and say, hey, look, you motherfuckers, because I mean, at some point it can be done to where like the Asians and all these other things, but we're not there yet. Again, you got to take baby steps. There's no way we're gonna jump from being what the second most impoverished demographic at 13% of the population to being like Asians who make the most out of every demographic in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to be more realistic with our thinking and with our processing these things, and really do start politically, because that's one. Even though they don't really participate, trust and believe they have politicians in their pocket. Trust and believe that there's a Chinatown in all these major cities for a reason. That's bought and paid for and protected by politicians. I promise you that one. So again, there are several things that we need to implement as a Black community, and one of those things is, again, establishing ourselves politically and getting a political policy for ourselves, our plans, and our wants and needs, and all those things, and then we can move up and eventually become like the Asians, or i.e. the people from Israel. You know what I'm talking about?
all right, Mr. Fantastic.
All right, real quick, little big Nate. Hold on for 1 second. Kill those.
Sure.
He says, I'll drive a car with the license. I said, I'll never drive a car with a license plate that says "Kill to your peaches" on it. He says, great stream. B. Gabe A came through. Shout out to Gabe A, always coming through on the super chat, always supporting a lot of people channels in this space. Appreciate Gabe. He says, I like when people or entities communicate that they don't like me. I prefer to know where we stand. I hate when people hide it and act friendly. Thank you very much for that super chat, Gabe A. And last but not least, my man NEU, who's also a $25 Patreon. I appreciate that. He came through hard and heavy on the Patreon, and he just sent a $20 cash app, so I appreciate that. NEU, salute and peace to you for supporting the channel the way that you do. All right, who was about to talk? Who did I interrupt?
BLS Holding. Hey, Bernard.
Oh yeah, BSL Holding, and he said something funny too. I forgot what it was. What did he say?
Said, dude sounds like rock. Like
yeah. Yeah, look, you sound like rock.
Gentlemen, I just want to address one thing that Fantastic said. I appreciate all the compliments in the chat. Look, gentlemen, Fantastic said one thing. I agree with most of what he said, but there's one thing in particular I want to point out. He said, the Republicans don't give a damn about you. That's what I want. In order for the black man to head up his household in the black community, we have got to remove the influence and the activity of politicians out of it. The Democrat Party and their Luciferian tentacles have their business all in the black household. They tell the black woman to get the man out of your house. Take this welfare check. Take this Medicaid. We'll be the man in your life. The Democrat Party is fully involved in the lives of black America. The Republican Party says, niggas, you go handle it yourselves. That's what I want. I want us to handle it ourselves. I want us to be in complete control over our households. If the world of politics had no influence over black women, they would have to come groveling on their hands and knees back to us. And we, the competent, thinking black men, could finally take control. The reason, and again, I am not telling anyone to be a Republican. I am telling you that if you are a thinking black man who operates and has morals that dictate the parameters of his life, chances are you are going to find more in common with the Republican Party. I am not a MAGA hat wearing, flag waving Republican. I am a traditionalist who knows that the only party that's going to help us take control of our community is the Republicans, because the Republicans
are not going to help you. They're not. You missed everything I said. They're not going to help you. They're not going.
That was hold on. Wait.
That's my point. They're not going to help.
Hold on.
I want to hear why you disagree with that point, because I think you missed the beauty in what he's trying to say here.
No, yeah, it was a lot of beauty in everything he was saying. It probably was a misstep to say that the Republicans are going to help. What you meant is the Republicans.
They're not going to help.
Hold on.
We don't want help.
Yes, I know. I think what he meant is the Republicans are going to get out the damn way.
You feel better. No, you feel better because you feel that the articles that they write down on paper that they believe in more align with how you feel. And I would agree with that. Yeah. But in practice, that doesn't play out. So
give me examples of that, sir. Give me examples of how it doesn't play out in practice. The Republicans want to lower your taxes on average. The Republicans want to deregulate on average. Sir, you're not going to defeat me on this argument. You're just not. Let me just say this and I'll stop. Okay.
You tell me how any of that will help the masses of black people in America. It might help you. Wait a minute. It'll help those who are in a position to benefit from that.
So you think the federal government is going to save black people, Pablo?
None of I didn't say that.
You missed everything I just said. If you even said that, you missed everything I just said. You're weighing too much on politics. Politics is not going. Politics is going to be at best 10% effectiveness in dealing with the issues of black people in America.
Hold on. I think
can I just, David?
Let me jump in 1 second, because he's not even saying the whole. He's not even saying where you're coming from totally. Pablo, if you're saying that, hold on, bro. If you're saying that politics is not the answer, on your side of the argument, you're saying politics is not the answer. We're on this side saying the problem is we have too much politics already meddling in our day-to-day affairs. We're kind of agreeing that the problem is politics.
The problem is
What you're
The problem as I see
not
it is
getting
why
is that
is the
Hold
title
on,
of
we're
the
Pablo.
show
arguing
is that we
we're
have a
arguing.
broken culture, not a broken
Oh yes,
politics.
politics has broken our culture. Is kind of another way of arguing what we're saying. Our culture has been broken by our politics in a lot of ways. But that aside, because it's a clumsy way to say it. That aside, what I want to get at is what we're talking about is actually removing the overall influence of
Thank
politics
you.
on our daily lives. So what you're saying is what we're describing in practice. We
Thank
don't want
you.
the government to have as much effect on the decisions we make. We want our decisions to stand on their own merit, and we will rise and fall according to our own merit as much
Thank
as we
you.
possibly can as human beings. That is a more pure way of living your life. And what you'll find in that system is that people will be forced to live a little more morally. You will have levels of crime, and you will have graft, and you will have all sorts of issues, but it won't be an explosion the way you have it in the Black community, because we are not so guided by the actually, we're guided right now by the worst of political winds. And to take it to another argument about the politics, let's say we can accept that Black women and Black men are political opposition at this point, because the things that most Black men would want from government aren't necessarily the things that Black women would want from government, which shows in Black women being like 85 to 90% of Democrat voters. Well, 85 to 90% of Black women are Democrat voters. So if your political opposition is taking refuge in a certain place, why not attack their refuge? This is strategy. This is fucking war. You do not let your opposition get comfortable and gather together and grow strength. The best way to attack their strength is to remove your fucking support. This is really a simple strategy of defeating their strength. It's not about siding with
Hold
the
on,
right
hold your thought, hold your thought,
They've
Pablo.
already had welfare reform.
Hold your thought,
Welfare
Pablo.
reform did not send Black women running back to Black men to be husbands. It didn't.
So kick another leg out the chair.
Do you know, gentlemen?
Hold on, fellas. I'm getting
I'm
way
sorry.
behind.
I
Shout out
don't
to
believe
Force.
any of that is going to send them back.
Pablo,
It's
can you
not.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Pablo. Okay, yeah, full circle. Thank you for that super chat. Hold your thought, Pablo. We coming back to you next. Justin March, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Who else? Damn, Leo Anthony. I think I just lost yours. If I can go up and find it. I don't know what you said. I know you said something. Here we go. Okay, you just said good stream. Salute to the brothers. Also, somebody just came through at the bottom. Gotta shout out those that support the show. I appreciate all of your brothers. Charles Keys says, make your money, save, invest, everything, then go to Morocco for women. All roads lead back to the all right.
Can I chime in real
Back
quick?
to the pussy.
Bernard.
Go ahead. Go. Wait. Oh no. Wait. Pablo was saying. Then you got next. Little bit.
They're not going to change.
Real quick. Hold on. Pablo.
Black America's behaviors and cultural leanings at this point are not going to be saved by political by policy. By political policies. They aren't.
Pablo, you're not listening to me, sir. You're really not hearing what I'm saying.
I just disagree. I'm sorry, I disagree, guys.
Well,
I heard
Pablo,
what you said. No, I'm gonna fall back. No, I'm gonna fall back. I've said what I said. I'm good.
Well,
I disagree.
Pablo, I don't think you would disagree if you would listen to what I'm saying, sir. What I'm saying is the Republican Party. This is what the Republican Party is going to say to Black men. You niggas go fix your own shit. That's what that's going to be the official Republican policy towards Black America. You niggas go fix your own shit. And then when competent, productive Black men can be at the forefront of fixing these problems, the problems will be fixed. That's why I'm saying vote Republican, not because I'm hoping that their policies will repair and save us. I am saying vote Republican because the Republicans are going to say, you niggas go fix your own shit. And then we can take control of things.
I don't have one nickel of faith in the people to fix it.
You don't think competent Black men will fix this?
No, that's an argument entirely.
Hey,
it's not going to get fixed.
Well, yeah, hey, I definitely agree with Pablo on that one, Little Big Nate. I think this is the problem that we have, man. We're outnumbered, brother. Unfortunately, like I said, whenever you're doing something with the people, That's why I said, bro, it's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers that gotta be this delineation and separation is gonna have to happen, bro, before we can organize anything. Because you just bring everybody in here, you're gonna have the same bullshit at the top. You're gonna have the women trying to run shit. You're gonna have the motherfucking maggles telling you, well, why are you talking about the women and all this other shit, and you trying to establish what's the name, man. I tell this, we got the right ideas, man, but I mean, you have a structure and you have a steps and of order operation for things for a reason.
Mr.
So
Fantastic.
And I agree with Fantastic. That I mean, Fantastic understands where I was headed with that.
Okay, Mr. Fantastic. I agree with you 100%, sir. And let me give you this. I was on Jason Black panel like a year ago, right? And the issue was black, quote unquote, black unity. I called in. That was the first time I had ever called into a YouTube channel on the Black Authority or whatever is the name of his channels. I love Jason Black. And I said, Jason, why do we talk about unity? I hate the idea of unity. When you hear black men talking about unity, chances are, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to play the game of probability. Most black men that talk about unity are unproductive niggas looking to hop on the coattails of productive men. I don't believe in black unity. I just don't. I believe in like-minded black men coming together and handling their business. I believe that if we got the federal government as much out of our business as we could, the 30 to 40% of competent, productive, masculine black men that there are in Black America. And I'd also like to speak to how I break black men down. I believe 30 to 40% of black men are absolutely killing it out here. Okay. I believe you could put the entire black community's future in our hands and we would end up gangbusters. We would be just fine. All right. I'm talking about the like-minded men coming together. And what will happen is this group of men, of intelligent, competent black men, their influence will grow because all these useless, shiftless, lazy niggas will have nowhere else to go. They can't go knock on the federal government's door and ask for Medicaid because it's not there. They can't knock on the federal government's door and ask for food stamps and government housing assistance and $35 apartments. They're not there. They got to come to us. They have to adapt to our way of thinking. I don't believe in black unity. I believe in the unity of men who think like I think, who think patriarchy, the establishment of the nuclear black family with a proper black man at its head. That's the unity I want. I don't want unity with hoteps and leftists and pro-gay niggas and pro-trans niggas and niggas that want to take their children to trans story time. I don't want any unity with these motherfuckers. I want them to perish.
And that's the Little Big Nate. Hold on, Little Big Nate, before you go. Fantastic. Yeah. Little Big Nate, do you got a channel?
No, sir, but I'm thinking about starting one.
Yeah, you need to start one. And before you even, email me. My email is in the about section. So yeah, send me an email because I definitely want to reach out to you. I gotta do a one-on-one with you, man, because you bringing some definite show enough heat right now. So yeah, definitely want to have a way to contact you and reach out to you.
And I appreciate you letting me on your platform. And I didn't mean to disrespect Kevin or anything.
Oh, no, you good. You good. No, you good.
But the only thing to that one, Little Big Nate, would be I'm with you, man. But again, when you have these front runners, man, and these paid shills and these paid mascots for the LeBron Jameses and the Jay-Z's and these people that got billion-dollar corporations behind them that are going to promote just those things you were talking about, the Dwayne Wades, okay,
exactly,
that are doing that. Again, that's why I'm telling you, man, that this thing is going to be a hard fought battle. It isn't just the women, all right? It isn't just the women, even though a lot of it may be women-led and caused. You have the men that are willing participants and men of stature and influence. Again, it just makes it that even harder. So that's why I'm saying, man, this whole thing in the development of a culture in itself, man, for a culture to develop, man, that's hundreds of years of language, policies and a region and land and all these other things, lineage, knowing all those things, right? So again, man, I'm not saying this to say that it's not possible, But I'm just bringing that up for motherfuckers to understand, bro. This is a fucking superhuman feat, and this is why niggas refuse to do it. Very, very few of us understand what you're saying, Little Big Nate. I agree with everything you're saying for the most part. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is this, man. A lot of people don't understand just how hard this shit is gonna be, and they say they down for it until the work has to be done. Until you got to pick that motherfucking anchor up out of the fucking bottom of the ocean and start pulling the chain, man. You know, you feel me? So
you're absolutely right. Fantastic.
So you gotta start making examples of people. Most people don't got the stomach to do this shit.
Well, yeah, that too, and that's why I said one of the first things you're gonna have to do. And I'm not talking, of course, I'm not talking physically getting rid of anyone or taking lives or anything like that.
Okay.
We have to start separating from and saying, "Oh no, if you do this, you do that, we not fucking with you." And that's gonna be the hardest thing. And I'm telling you, and whether you're poor, whether you're rich, or so on and so forth, whoever the fuck you are, as black men, we're gonna have to establish that nucleus, man. And I just think, you know, that's the first motherfucking, you know, atom of the whole fucking the being.
I want to know why is it hard for us when they can easily cancel people? I mean, they got a whole movement right now talking about canceling motherfuckers. They just canceled or stopped fucking with J. Cole because he said some shit about some stupid bitch.
Right.
Like they can easily stop fucking with people and say he's not one of us.
Right.
He said something we don't like, but we can't do that shit.
No, I think General can't hear Archer.
I can't hear Archer, I don't think.
Yeah. Archer was talking. I'm gonna go to you next, General, after Archer finish up. So just hold on for a second, because I don't think
I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna jump out because General I'm pretty sure he got good shit to say. But yeah, we have to stop acting as if this shit's really as hard as it is, because they do this shit all the time to us. Like you got to remember, we're a minority when it comes to this way of thinking, as far as being patriarchal, as far as being men and being leaders. They jump out the fence saying, "Fuck, we ain't gonna fuck with you if you say something we don't like. If you do something we don't like, we ain't gonna fuck with you." We're sitting here talking about how hard it's gonna be for us to do, but they do it with a. So they got that hive mind. They just, one bitch says we're gonna stop fucking with you, now everybody stop fucking with you. It's really not that hard to change the culture. It's really not that hard to make examples of people. We just can't get on the same page.
We got years of proof that it's that hard, man. You know that we got proof.
Well, maybe it's not that hard for them. It's just hard for us.
That's what we talking about. We talking about black people. We're not talking about LGBT. We're not talking about feminists. We're not talking about globalists. We're not talking about Marxists. We're talking about black people. The thing about all those other groups, or that they have an established ideology that you come into it knowing what the fuck it is. Black people have never ever even established that.
Gentlemen,
hold on. We gotta go to the General. Go ahead.
General.
Kill Deuce.
Right.
Well, hold on, real quick. Kill Deuce, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. And look like David Monroe coming back. But General, go ahead. You got the mic. I'm stepping away for a few minutes. Don't nobody do nothing crazy. Well, no, fantastic. You moderate it. You can moderate the conversation. Make sure shit don't get crazy. And Sir Kai came through with another super chat. He says, Fan and Nate are correct, but many of the unproductive ones are family members. Are people willing to cut them loose? Good question. For most, I say no, they won't. Thank you, Sir Tights, for another super chat. So go ahead, General. You got the floor. You got the mic. I'm stepping away for a second, fellas.
I appreciate it. Hey, what's up, fellas? Got a great conversation this morning. First of all, happy belated Father's Day. Now, in recognition of Father's Day, who on this panel is familiar with what just took place in Charlotte, North Carolina, Sunday night?
I live in Charlotte.
Okay, did you? So you should know what just happened.
The June 19th massacre. Yes, sir.
Okay. So as I watch some of that video, you can see where the separation is. Okay, you can see it. So it is, in my opinion, it is not as much as it is politics as it is culture. It is our culture. Okay. That's where it lays now. In the 60s, 50s, 40s, you could say politics. There were things set in place politically to stop a lot of stuff, as it is today, just not as much. And I will say that, yes, it still plays, politics do still play a factor, but not as much as it used to. So here we are in the middle of 2020, and we had to see that display, which happened on what was supposed to have been a glorious holiday for Black people, being Juneteenth. We had to see that display of what Black people are. At the same time, we're rioting, and at the same time, we're asking for equal justice under the law. Then we have that pop off. So I can agree with the law of attrition. This is where I stand. It is the law of attrition. In other words, there's gonna have to be a separation. There's gonna have to be, and I know I'm gonna get some some fire back from this, and I understand, because what I'm about to say is gonna be somewhat controversial to some people on this panel. Black people are gonna have to separate from niggas.
Absolutely.
Okay?
That's not
Absolutely.
controversial over here.
Black
But let
people.
me ask you a question, though, General. How
Let
does
me
that
finish.
play out practically?
Give me a second. Black people are simply going to have to separate from niggas. Now, you asked the question, how does that play out practically, right? Well, men generally do three things. Men that I know of, men that I have in my life and my families and leaders, men generally do three basic things. Men either lead, follow, or get the fuck out of the way. Now, what position do you want to be in? What position are you in? Are you a leader? Because if you're leading, then you should be advising men that you stand next to, left and right, front and rear. You should be advising them, not necessarily demanding, to a degree, yes, demanding that this is the proper way to go about handling things. The rest of them who are followers, they're going to thin themselves out. Everybody else can get the fuck out of the way as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to live in an environment like the one I saw play out on those videos that came from Charlotte. I don't want to live around people like that. I don't want to be in that environment. I simply do not. I want to be around black people, moderate black people. That's where I want to be. I want to be around people who think like I think, people who understand what's happening in this country and can make a decision based upon what is best for them and their family and for like-minded men and women. That's where I want to be. And that's where I'm going to be. I refuse to be in a place where bullshit continuously happens. I refuse to do it. So again, and I'm going to pass the mic, men do three things. You lead, you follow, or you get the fuck out of the way. Period.
All right,
You
man.
have to separate.
Wait. Let's do these super chats, man, for y'all get in here to pay the bills. So everybody that's done gave a little bit of bread. Thank you very much, brother Jared Lee, for the $4.99 super chat. How do you fix the black community? Simple, 4 easy steps: more fathers in the household, education, self-accountability, and reduce immigration. Next, we have Melody. Thank you, Melody, for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, sister. And let me make sure I didn't miss one. Yep, that's it. Y'all go ahead. Whoever got it next, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, whoever.
No, I just want to jump in on a second. Like, look at what's going on right now. Let's do a quick temperature check of the black community, because I think what happened in Charlotte is it's loosely related to the moment we're in. I mean, black people shoot black people all the time, but during this recent bout of chaos and our so-called fight for black justice, I keep coming back to this. All the fatalities are black in this pro-black revolution. And we actually need to check our value system before we can even go out to the greater world and try to make demands on the rest of the world. We got a lot of in-house shit that needs to be cleaned up.
You're absolutely right. And I just real quick, if I may chime in, at the same time, I saw some numbers of shootings that occurred and killings that occurred in Chicago. At the same time, I can't remember. It was like 160 some odd
General,
black
it's
people that were
nationwide.
shot.
It's nationwide. Crime rates are
Right. I get
everywhere.
it. I get that it's nationwide. So again, this is why I say that it has, in my opinion, politics plays a part of it. The system does play a part of it. But the other major part of it is our culture, how we live as black people, how we think, how we understand, how we treat and interact with one another. That's what it is, more so than the politics.
Gentlemen, I got to take issue. General, I believe you're correct when you say the culture is the problem. I think we all agree with that. But what we're not recognizing, and the point I'm trying to drive home, is that there is something that instructs the culture. There's something that directs the culture. There are things that influence the culture. The culture is the problem. Okay. Where does this culture find its roots? What ideologies does this corrosive and destructive Black American culture find its roots? They find its roots in the Democrat Party and in feminist ideology. These are facts. The reason why our households are 77% headed by women is because of the culture that the Democrat and feminist party has produced. Culture is not an independent entity off onto itself. Culture is instructed and fed into by ideology. The ideology that it has been instructed by, current American Black culture, is leftist Democrat ideology.
Little Big Nate, hold on. Before we, because I agree with you that it's in the home. It's definitely at home in the Democrat Party, right? But accountability. Now, we need to go back, way back, and look at the Black Panther Party, right? A lot of what we are told from the media in the Black Panther Party is relatively positive. And if you want to get the dirt on just how that organization operate and what their core belief system is, they were a Marxist.
Yep.
The Black Panthers were Marxist.
Yep.
A majority of our Black leadership then and now are fucking Marxist.
Communist.
And so, yeah, so as much as I, you know, and I'm not trying to racialize it per se, but as much as I agree with you that it's in the Democrat Party and the white side of the game has its responsibility in this, we need to kick those motherfuckers out the driver's seat, because that's who's really running the order of the Black community. We have Marxists who, on the one hand, they want to collapse the American system and, you know, fuck all the Black lives that have to get sacrificed in your quest for power. And then on the other hand, their belief system itself, in order to collapse the American system, they want to collapse the family. Well, if you're a Black Marxist, you're going to collapse the Black family. So back again, blaming our own Black leadership for fucking up our own fucking community. And that's really whose feet I want to hold on the fire first and foremost.
All right, real quick, let me get this in here one more time for the $2. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate that donation to the channel. And let me say this on what you were saying, David Monroe. Look, man, this video finally surfacing with them admitting to being trained Marxists, that's not by chance, that's not by happenstance, it's not a coincidence. They want you niggas to say we don't care, we're going to support it anyway. That way they know now that, okay, we told them, we came out. Like David Monroe said, a lot of people don't know about the Black Panthers being Marxists and communists, and all those people being, you know what I'm saying, again, being a arm of someone trying to call fucking, you know, social and civil unrest to overthrow the government as a whole. Okay. As much as you
can I ask a question?
Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead. You got it.
Who funded these Marxists? If you actually look at the history and actually look at the dollars, many of these Marxist groups are funded by so-called capitalists. You know, George Soros is a major funder of Marxist organizations, including Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
He's the primary.
So if we're going to talk about the issue of Marxism and communism and et cetera related issues, we need to have a very complete discussion of what's really going on, because you'll find that these delineations you appear to be drawing in politics between conservative and liberal, progressive, et cetera, are not as clearly defined as you might think them to be. And that very often the Marxists are doing the work of capitalists.
That's
it. Just because he's just because he's rich doesn't make him a capitalist. He's a rich Marxist.
He's a global.
So he became rich. He became a billionaire by way of being a Marxist.
No. He uses capitalism to further his Marxist endgame. That's
right.
The whole...
And he's not the only one.
You know, look
at you know, much of this money that fund these Marxist organizations come from foundations that are created and controlled by capitalists.
Yes, but they're all globalists.
They're globalists.
Black
Exactly.
Uru.
So when you start
globalist
talking about
organization.
policies, so when you really start talking about policies of capitalism, about Marxism and whatever, much of the intent of these organizations are not necessarily what you might think them to be. And if you ally with those who presume or present themselves as being capitalists, you're going to be disappointed when you really see fully what they're engaged in and what they're trying to do.
Real quick, let me shout out to Red Pill Table Talk for the $9.99 super chat. It's not about separating ninjas from black people. It's about separating the boys from the men, separating non-productive from productive, thinkers from non-thinkers. Shout out to Angry Man. Thank you, brother. And we had one more thing. No, that one should be it. Hold up. One more time. I have been saying this for years that we have a cultural problem. I am glad to see more brothers speaking on this matter. And that should be it. Yep.
Well, look, gentlemen. In the past 60 years, the Democrat Party, people think every time I say Democrat, that means I'm rooting for Republican. Please stop thinking that. That's not the case here. But I have to lay the blame where it belongs. For the past 60 years, the Democrat Party has put the primary political decision-making in the hands of the black woman. I said this on your channel the other day. Fantastic. They've put it in the hands of the black woman. And look where we are as a community. They're about to put all black political decision-making in the hands of 5 virulent, anti-black, straight male, lesbian feminists. The head of BLM.
Okay, but let me ask this question. Who currently dominates the Supreme Court? What party currently dominates the Supreme Court?
I believe Republicans have the edge.
Yeah, but they
That's
just
that's
and they have for years now. So why is Roe v. Wade? Why is Roe v. Wade still currently being upheld?
Sir, what's your name, sir? I'm not. Could you tell me your name?
Strikes.
Sir, okay, appreciate that, man. What you have to understand about Roe v. Wade, you're not simply going to wipe it off the law books. If you look throughout all of America, there is a slow move to eradicate access to abortion, which is a good thing, especially here in the South, where I am. You have abortion clinics that they're putting regulations on abortion clinics that are making it more and more and more difficult for women to get abortions. They're also closing the window that a woman during her pregnancy can have access to abortion. You're not simply just going to wipe the law off the books.
All you're going to do is move the abortions to more liberal states. That's all you're going to do.
Well,
until the Supreme Court outlaws abortion, you're still going to have abortion in this country. It's just going to be restricted in a way in which that conservatives, because you have conservatives who secretly get abortions, or Republicans who secretly get abortions. So you're never going to totally get rid of it. You're just going to have it presented in such a way in which is more palatable to certain people. I maintain my initial rhetorical question, and that is, you have a Supreme Court that is currently dominated by Republicans. It has been for years. There have been periods in this country where the Supreme Court, where the Congress and the presidency are dominated by Republicans. If the Republicans truly want to legalize abortion to go away, they could do that.
Well, I mean,
and most of these states are run. Also, most of these states are run by.
Uru, can you hear me? Black Uru Strikes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, real quick. Let me read this super chat real quick. Keep up the good work, brothers. I'm new to your channel. Very informative topics. Thank you, brother, for the $5 super chat. Mike Shinnery, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Salute to the panel. Question for all: what is the next step once men gain control of their families?
Can I answer that? All right.
Bernard's back, so he'll guide you.
Yeah, fantastic. Gotta thank you for doing the moderating and reading the super chats while I had to step away. I'm actually about to I see my man Keith Lamont down in the queue. I'm about to bring Keith Lamont up real quick, but I just want to say, Keith, the last time he was on my show, we know what happened, man. Behave yourself, brother. Behave yourself. But I'm about to drop back down for a couple more minutes. I got to finish doing something real quick. Then thank you again, fantastic. When I wrap this up, it's probably a little after. Fantastic. Are you going live today?
I can.
Yeah, man, we can pass this shit. We can pass it right over to you. Pass it right over to you. But yeah, so I'm about to drop down. Keith, you can go ahead and come on up. Behave yourself, young man. No, that's you know you're my brother, Keith. You know you're my brother. But, all right.
Hey, real quick before Keith gets in here. Black
You would think I was the one that called somebody a motherfucker.
Oh shit. Well, shout out Solid. What's going on with your brother? Hey, real quick, man. This is the thing. I don't think that again, the whole point of Marxism is to have the elite and the proletariat or the poor people. George Soros is clearly the elite. The means about how he became elite, I don't think is more so important than just understanding that he is elite. If you're saying to the point of where you have the people acting as one thing when they're really something else, that's very, very true. And I think people should become more aware of that. But just alone from the whole Marxist thing, like I was trying to get back to, the point is this. The fact that they've let this word that's been around for forever, but niggas don't read, niggas don't like history, niggas don't know anything about it, so on and so forth. I made a post about this yesterday, and no one really knew what the fuck I was talking about. Marxism, again, they put it out there again for black people, feelers. They have to put feelers out here to see just how well they have you niggas hooked. And when you say that you have a black woman leading that says we are well-trained organizers and well-trained Marxists, and black people don't say, oh, hell no, bitch, get the fuck out of here. That just let them know, yes, these niggas, not only are they hooked, they swallowed it. And now we're free to even dig deeper down into it and go to the next stage and the next levels of what we want to do, because they're so caught up in emotions, or they don't give a fuck and they don't care as long as they get the little bit of attention because it has black attached to it. So this is why I say it's literally DEFCON 5, motherfucking all hands on deck for the black man in 2020. You got 6 months to get your shit together. Actually, less than that, coming up into this election is going to be a major part in this too. We do not establish our own political ideology and just establish ourselves to be respected as a man in this country first, not even to mention globally. I don't think we're going to be able to recover, man. I'm sorry to tell you. I know I'm the bearer of bad news. I'm the motherfucking doctor that's telling you got cancer, stage 4, and you got like 30 days to live. That's where the black man is. We have to stomp this shit out for the final time, not even let them come back anymore. Of where shout this shit from the rooftop. These motherfuckers are the enemy. These motherfuckers are the enemy. These motherfuckers are the enemy. Point blank. Period. Now I don't give a fuck about you calling me a homophobic. I don't give a fuck about you calling me transphobic. I don't give a fuck about none of the phobics. I don't give a fuck about you calling me an anti-Semite. It is some deal. Once they throw that out there, that's the Trump card. They put that one on you, nigga. You better shut up.
All right, I'll have to catch you guys next time.
You better. But we go have to take a lot of these risks, man, and really, really go up against this shit because it's serious.
Let me just add something real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
I just wanted to make a statement so you guys can fight, because I'm about to jump in the office. But I want you guys to fight about this statement here, because we were talking about black crime before. Black crime is actually a statistical anomaly. See, Caucasian people have convinced you by talking about this per capita nonsense. Black crime represents 0.5% of the black community, for one. There's how many millions of black people does it exist in the US? And how many, only hundreds of thousands are in jail, right? That represents actually such a small percentage of who black people are. But again, they've taken our eyes off the ball. They have convinced you that there's a large percentage of you that are criminals, when it's not. They've got you talking about black on black crime, when everyone in the universe understands that crime in itself is interdirectional. Crime is white on white primarily, Asian on Asian primarily, Latino on Latino primarily, because we live in a segregated country. And it's the same reason why when you watch those murder shows and the wife gets killed, who is the first suspect they go to? The husband. Because you're more likely to be killed by someone you know. So again, you're following these bigots who are leading you on talking points like daggles, by racializing these issues when everyone in the universe understands how complex these are. But when they talk to black people, they want to tell you it's racial. But when Mr. Murder Man gets on the news, they tell you about all of these psychological issues and mental things that could possibly impact a person. And when they're defending Caucasian people against crimes, they come up with all kind of creative situations to where he didn't think he was out of his right mind. But when they talk about black people, it's just, you just niggas. Never mind that we were hanging your ancestors from trees just a generation ago. Never mind that there are people still alive today that actually remembers this. Never mind that you're one generation for being able to even vote. And they're asking you, why haven't you built a rocket ship to the moon? When they already understand that crime, especially in the black community, is directly related to poverty. When you eliminate poverty from blacks, crime pretty much disappears. You almost never hear of middle-class black crimes. You hear all the time.
I already debunked that one, bro. And I already
hold on. I didn't say. Hold on. Context. I didn't say it doesn't exist.
No, I'm not saying even
by
that.
By numbers, black crime falls off a cliff. Black crime is pretty much centralized in poor neighborhoods. That is a fact.
With white people, with Hispanic people.
You cannot compare with white people. That's what this is.
How not? How are you going to make that delineation?
Okay, let me answer it. Hold on. You asked me why not. Let me answer it. You asked why not. Let me answer it. Okay. How many people have Caucasian people killed here in America?
Who knows? But I know this is the largest
group. We want to talk about crime. We want to talk about crime. We have to separate. The crime low level
of impoverished people in the country.
I understand. Let me answer your question. When you again, I've already answered it. White people commit crime regardless of their financial situation. Almost black crime is centralized at low-level crime. Period. Low-level drug crime. Low-level desperate type of crime.
White people don't do low-level drug crime?
Is that true or not? I'm not talking. Is that true or not? Yes or no?
It's truth for all fucking races, bro.
Is black crime pretty much primarily centralized in poor community? Is that true or is that not true?
That's true for everybody across the base, bro.
Okay. No, it's not.
Everyone, every race.
Listen.
It is true for every race.
Yes, you're correct. But context.
Like I told you,
fantastic. You're trying to talk over me. Okay. I gave you your time to speak. This is why I get angry, because everyone gets their time to diatribe, and then when I get to talk, everyone's trying to talk over me.
But you've been talking the whole time.
I haven't been talking the whole time. I've been talking for a few minutes. I just sat back and listened to Fantastic. I've been talking 2 minutes.
Hey, you got no. You know what? Wait. Before y'all niggas, I know. Nigga, before y'all pull the gun out.
I get interrupted, and then niggas start.
All right. That's it.
A minute.
Hold on, Keith.
I haven't
switching gears. We going to Angry Man, and that's that. We're gonna leave y'all.
Going to Angry Man. I'm getting tired of people pointing the fingers at me. I keep getting in.
This ain't about pointing. This ain't about pointing fingers. This ain't about pointing fingers. You and Fantastic went back and forth. We just gonna call it right there. We gonna call whatever y'all was arguing about a draw, and we just gonna pass the Angry Man.
Okay, like first of all, if you make a statement that white people commit crime at every level, that's racializing crime. That's racializing crime. Like, crime is crime. People commit crime for whatever reason. That people tend to commit less crime in this country when they have more. That's just the reality. If you have more in this country, you tend to stay away from criminal activity. If you have less, you tend to lean towards criminal activity, trying to get more. Now, there have been numerous academics who have pointed out that poverty doesn't cause crime because they'll use examples like third world countries. But the part that they don't realize is that in a third world country, when you're broke, everybody's broke. So there's nobody to compete with when it comes to having things. In this country, you could be broke and living next to a motherfucker with a Mercedes Benz. that gives you a different sort of motivation. And then on top of that, we live in a country that was actually built off of criminal activity. Okay, the criminal activity is kind of the American way. We're trying to get away from that, but it definitely is what started this country. But I wanted to just say something real quick on the point y'all were making earlier, about a separation between niggas and black people. And you know, that's a funny joke that Chris Rock made. And I get what he was saying, but the problem with using that terminology today is black people tends to be another word for well-to-do black folks. And nigga tends to always be a word that deals with black people from the hood or urban centers or inner cities. And we got to get away from saying that type of shit, because there are people who live in urban centers and in the hood that are not ignorant ass motherfuckers. So in my opinion, I feel like what we got to do is say that there does need to be a separation, but it needs to be a separation between intelligent black people and ignorant black people. There needs to be a separation between the thinkers and the non-thinkers, a separation between the productive and the non-productive. You feel me? It's the same thing. I've spoken on this numerous times, how black people don't really have a class system. We're the only racial group that doesn't have a class system. Every other racial group has some sort of class system. You know, you're not going to see hillbilly white folks hanging out with elite white folks. That doesn't happen. And in my opinion, until black people actually get a class system, we're always going to have these problems. If you are a working class guy, middle class, blue collar worker, and you make decent money, but you got to live next door to a trap house, we're always going to have these damn problems. It's never going to fail. I've even went into it as far as, you know, if there's a white guy that, you know, is poor white trash and he decides he wants to get away from that environment, all he has to do is he can go into the military, travel, go live somewhere else, get a better career. He can put his kid and he can live and he can move to a different type of white neighborhood. He can put his kid in a specific type of private school that will almost guarantee that his kid ends up going to some elite Ivy League school. Black people don't have options like that. Now,
Can I point out something, Angry Man? It's not that you're totally wrong. I just want to lay in a little bit of background to that.
Go ahead.
Is that, and it's weird. I hate to tie it back to slavery, but this is one of these things I think is tied back to slavery in the sense that the successful black people are always tagged with some kind of like an accusation of whiteness. You know, you sell out, you left the community, you're supposed to give back. All these things is like cutting you off from the black community and tying you to the white community. And I think the problem with that is that black people who have made it and have embraced success and comfort, I think they should just drop the guilt and say, fuck it. So what? Call me whatever the fuck you want, but I'm going to buy up the shit and I'm going to reset it according to our order. And the successful black people will have to fall in line and get with the program. Because we do have an elite class. I just think they suffer from that survivor's guilt shit to the point where they, like you said, we are stuck. We are happy to leave ourselves, leaving like the wealthy guy living next to the trap house. He doesn't really have to. He can actually form his way out, but I do think there's a weird kind of guilt that holds us back.
We have a de facto elite class. We don't have an actual elite class because they're separated. They're not when white people become an elite class, there are certain circles that they move in. We don't really have those circles. Our elite circles are relegated to entertainment. So you'll have athletes that'll hang out with each other, or they'll hang out with rappers, or they'll hang out with movie stars. But with white people, you have elites that aren't entertainers. They're not athletes. They're not movie stars. They're not any of that shit. You have elites who they put their kids in very specific private schools. Those kids end up going to very specific Ivy League white schools. It almost guarantees that that group is going to congregate around each other. I pointed this out the other day when I said you look at somebody like Robert F. Smith, who's a billionaire, Jay-Z, who's a billionaire. I said, here you have two black billionaires. You have Kanye, that's a black billionaire. Do those three black billionaires congregate in the same circles and hang around each other? I sincerely doubt it. Maybe Kanye and Jay-Z, but Robert F. Smith probably does not hang out in those circles, or they don't hang out in his circles. And it's like if there were three white billionaires. If there were only three white billionaires, I guarantee you they would hang out in the same circle. They would congregate around each other.
A few points I wanted to make real quick. Number one, Angry Man, Chris Rock used to tell a joke how he lives in a neighborhood in New Jersey, and he's a superstar, Chris Rock, but his neighbor is a dentist. His other neighbor is a real estate guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. In order to be in that neighborhood, you have to be a black superstar where all his white neighbors are dentists, real estate guys, investors, and the like normal everyday people.
This is what I want. This is what I want Jack Spade to do, since he claims I live in low places because he knows for a fucking fact.
Okay.
Jack Spade, what I want you to do is I want you to name for me the Ivy League black school. That's what I want you to do. I want you to name for me the elite private black school that guarantees you will go to the elite Ivy League black school. That's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me what's the name of those schools. Howard University is not a fucking elite school.
Yeah, that closest thing to that would be Brown. That'd be like that's the highest.
That's right.
That's
on top of that, the black kids who do get there didn't somehow betray their blackness because they somehow made it to the school that the best of the best white kids go to. They're still black, and we owe it to them to hold on to them the way they need, like they need a position with us.
Better yet, let me help them out in the chat. Let me help them out in the chat room because they're not getting it. What is the black counterpart to Harvard? You don't have.
There is no analog to that.
You don't have one. That's the point that I'm making. You don't have one, but you have black billionaires and millionaires. That's a problem.
Let me make a few points. To Mr. Fantastic's point about black people not caring about the origins of BLM, we didn't care when we found out they were lesbians. We didn't care when we found out that a Luciferian, George Soros, funds them. We're not going to care when they're Marxists. We just don't care. Number two, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit, okay? I've been listening to YouTube for 2 years. I found the Manosphere about a year and a half ago, okay? Black women, headed up by their Democrat taskmasters, have had the ability to dominate the narrative in Black America for 60 years, okay? They have said everything that they've said about us completely unhindered. You have never seen a man like Angry Man or Mr. Fantastic or the General on an MSNBC panel or a CNN panel or any mainstream news panel. They have been on OWN, Gale, on CBS Morning News. You will never see any man like us discussing any topics that are pertinent to Black America. Now, why do I say we're a little bit too hard on ourselves? We have had the freedom of expression for approximately 5 to 8 years now, okay? That's it. This is a baby. This whole thing is an infant in a crib, okay? Let's recognize the fact that it's beginning to have an effect. No matter what you think about Angry Man and his delivery, or Tommy and his delivery, or Mr. Fantastic's, these men's commentary and narrative is having an effect. I'm here because it's having an effect. You look at what Kevin Samuel's stream is doing. He hit 2,000 listeners in a matter of what, 6 months? Gentlemen, be impressed with what we've built. It's not much, but it's in its infancy and it's having an effect. I wouldn't be here. I used to walk around thinking no one thinks like me except me and the few friends I have. There's no one that thinks like me. All these fucking black men have pledged their allegiance to the Democrats. They all think we should put our little boys in dresses, and there's no hope for us. We're doomed. And then I found this small group of ragtag military men, dudes that make their money off YouTube, guys that are in IT, all thinking similarly. All we need to do is grow and expand. I need to start a channel.
Bro, they coming to get you.
That's not me. That's not my background. This is in its infancy. We are actually doing the work. Every time we get on here and talk, we're doing the work. We need to build platforms. We need to build channels. We need to build studios to broadcast from those channels. All this is going to happen. We need to continue to encourage each other. I can assure you, gentlemen, it's just a matter of time before these women are coming to us for their direction.
Well, Big Nate, you know what?
Hey,
You know
real
what?
quick, I'm sorry to cut you up, Dave. I'm sorry for all of this because damn it, we got to call it right there. Got to let that be the last word because I got to get out of here. I dropped that link in there. Obsidian going live on Mixler at 1 p.m. Y'all go make sure y'all go check him out. I think Fantastic said he about to blaze it up. So I know some of y'all, if not all of y'all, gonna go over there, check out Fantastic. Angry Man probably going on too. But yeah, damn it. I hate to do this when the number's good and the conversation good. I do got to get out of here. I hate to do it. God damn it. I hate to do it. But don't forget Obsidian going live on Mixler. I know some of y'all have already created an account. We got to understand the Black Manosphere is bigger than just YouTube. MasculineMercenaries.com. That's your website, correct, Angry Man? Yeah. I just started going to check that out. So yeah, we got to make sure that we hitting the different websites and different places where people are putting content, posting content, or live streaming. So yeah, make sure we going to check it out. This thing is broader than YouTube, but Obsidian going live on Mixler, and y'all could hop on over. I think Fantastic said he about to blaze it up right now. Anyway, but damn it, I hate to have to shut this down, but we got to get up out of here, fellas. Peace.
All right, gentlemen.
Links in the chat.